This video will describe first normal form and how to basically achieve it. So this is where I'm going to kind of break into practical examples more than anything else, and I'm going to start with something that is just not in any form whatsoever, and so how we can achieve first normal form given this data. So what I have here is a student name attribute and a course title attribute. And I have multiple bits of data, as you can see in both. So student name here, I have basically Brian, John, Sally, and Jack. And I also have what appears to be marital status, at least for 3 of them. I have Brian is married, John is single, and Sally is married. But Jack here has a number. This basically maybe a zip code. Who the hell knows what that is? This is actually to show one of the other things we said that everything had to be in line with, which was the data type. So I'll come back to that in a moment, but I wanted to point out why I did that. Course title, this appears to have at least the same type of information, right? So here I'm looking at marital status and name and possibly a zip code. Here, these are all courses, database management systems, SD2, OrganArc, SD1, math and history, right? But the problem here is that I have multiple ones under the same attribute, right? So there's a bunch of problems here. Not among the least among them is how do I even draw a key for all this? One thing that we could do in this current situation is say, well, student name maybe could be a key, but I don't see anything here that's going to guarantee uniqueness. In other words, what's to stop me from just creating another row and I have another Brian in the course, and that Brian also happens to be married, although that shouldn't even be there. So this key won't hold up over time, right? I'm not going to bring this example forward, but I just wanted to kind of show that. So to fix that, I can go ahead and put in, I'm just going to call it SID here, but we could have called it student ID or just ID. And let's go ahead and give them ID numbers. Now, this will fix the key issue, right? Now, there were other ways to do it. You could have made an argument for saying both student name and course title combined could have been the key. But again, Brian could have been taking the same courses as this Brian. So there's no way that would have held up. And we need uniqueness, and in the absence of having a combination that gives it, you can go ahead and create it, right? So this will serve the purpose that each tuple is now unique. So that was actually, I believe, our 3rd requirement when we looked at first normal form. Another, remember, was the type. So let's attack that now, at least partially. So these we said were all the same type, right? But these are not. The name and the marital status are 2 different things, even though the marital status, is dependent on the person. And the zip code or whatever the heck this is, maybe it's, the password on their luggage, I have no idea. But whatever it is, it has nothing to do with this, right? So to fix that, what we're going to do is we're going to break out, we're going to break out this into another column called marital status. And I just abbreviated here, married and single. I kept the student ID, but it has the full name here. And I have the students' names obviously here as well. The other thing I've done is I've attempted to break out the courses into 3 columns, because if you look back here, the most courses that a single student had was 3, right? So now I've eliminated all of the data redundancies, right? I've eliminated any attribute that had more than 1 data point, which I think was our first violation out of the 3. I've also broken it out by type. Notice I've thrown away that zip code because I wasn't sure even what it was. It was just bad data. But now marital status all has information of the correct type. Student name all has student names. And courses, although this is still up for debate, does have all courses in it. Now, let's look at these gaps. Notice that there's just, and these are what are referred to as null values, by the way, which mean that there is no value there. there's a lot of them, right? I don't have a marital status for Jack. I don't have any courses for Jack at all. And John only has the one, so he's got 2 blanks, and Sally has a blank. Now, what if Brian takes a 4th course, right? How am I going to deal with that? Am I actually going to add a course 4 attribute and change this relation? That's not something that you want to be doing on a production system. This is not a good way to do this. And in fact, some would make the argument that this pattern, in fact, is not in first normal form. That the only correct way to do this, even though it's still not, in second or third normal form, is to create additional rows. So now in this case, what I've done is I've taken that same table that we saw before. I still have student ID, student name, marital status, but there's one attribute for course title. And now notice, just like we were looking at earlier with like the Star Wars and the movie examples in the book, we have duplicate tuples, right? Well, not duplicate, because they have different courses, but we are duplicating Brian and marital status so that we can have additional course titles in here, right? So the way this is set up now, for every single course that a student is enrolled in, they're going to have a new tuple. And this obviously leads to anomalies, right? We have duplication of data, we have repetitive data, we have possible update anomalies, right? So if I want to update my marital status and I update this because I probably shouldn't do that. So this is not me. So I did not get divorced. This is another Brian. So I'll get in trouble. This, right, did not reflect here. So that's a problem, right? Which one is right? Again, if I don't have some kind of update date or some way to know when that happened, and I got to write code around that, and I got to deal with it. This is not good, right? There's also the possibility for deletion anomalies and all that. So we're nowhere near Boy's Code normal form, we're nowhere near third normal form, but this does in fact fit the definition of first normal form. It meets those 3 requirements that we discussed before.